It's game day on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Football 24/7 with NFL insider John McMullen, who's at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And that brand new stadium sounds like you're sitting right in the middle of the bowl, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, it's loud. It's an open air press box, so it's sort of old school in that type of way. Although it is obviously a very new stadium. First time the Eagles will be here, obviously. Uh, and it's exciting anytime you see a new stadium and how they do things. And it's Vegas, so I guess they got to be loud. The pregame concert, they had an entire band with strings, trumpets, sax, you name it. So they like to do things big out here.
No doubt about that. Johnny Mac, National Tight End Day. Let's start with the report. Dallas Goedert will play today. How involved will Dallas Goedert be in the offense this afternoon?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a big part of the offense. Obviously, he's coming off a 10-day stay on the COVID-19 list. So you do have to worry a little bit about conditioning just from the fact that he missed that time dealing with an illness. So you do have to worry about it from that perspective. But look, when the Eagles traded Zach Ertz, a big part of it was to open up the door to get Dallas Goedert essentially on the field, as close to 100% of the time as possible. So I don't know if he can get up in that 85-90% range where he would have been pre-COVID if he didn't have those issues. But once the conditioning is up to speed, and the Eagles think it is, so they're going to be using him in this game, and they want to use him in this game, and this is going to be a big part of their offense coming off the mini bye, trying to get Dallas Goedert more involved earlier in this particular offense.
Hey, Johnny Mac, does that same thought about conditioning apply to Lane Johnson, who will start today at right tackle? And he had a longer length of time that he was away dealing with a personal issue, as we know. Any concerns about conditioning for the big guy?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not as much, only from the standpoint. I think the concern about Dallas is understand, COVID obviously is a respiratory disease. So, sometimes it takes a little bit of air away from you, and you're worried about coming back from that perspective. In Lane's instance, obviously it was not health related, not sickness related, anything like that. It was just taking time off for his mental health. And so from that kind of standpoint, you might see some rust because he's been out of the mix for 3 weeks, but I don't think it'll be really condition related. Lane's a guy who always keeps himself in great shape.
Let me ask you one more question about Lane Johnson. On some of the national network shows today, as they were breaking down and starting to evaluate this Raiders-Eagles game, there was a lot of talk about the pressure that the Raiders were able to put a week ago, heavy pressure on Bridgewater, and would they duplicate that today? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I think the Raiders have some pretty good edge rushers. If you think about Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue, they might not be stars. They might not be, when you think about Nick Bosa earlier this season or Joey Bosa or somebody like that that's going to be coming up. I don't think they're that type level of edge rushers, but they are good players. Now, the positive standpoint from the Eagles' perspective is some of the offensive line issues that we've been talking about since the beginning of the seasons have calmed down a little bit with Lane Johnson returning, because he'll be back at right tackle, and then you have the shuffle from there. Jordan Mailata is back at his more comfortable left tackle position. So that should help the Eagles in the fact that they have both of their edge protectors ready to go and in this game. I think that should help.
The counterpart, of course, to Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller, he will not play today. Has that Are the inactives out? Is that correct?
Yeah, they are out. He has been ruled out by the Raiders with an ankle injury, and yeah, to me that's the biggest part of the pregame news, because that is a really good player, one of the better flex tight ends in this league. A really difficult matchup. Leads this team in receptions, is right behind Henry Ruggs in receiving yardage. Great player, really difficult player to deal with. And we've talked about the Eagles' back seven issues. Remember, Anthony Harris is not playing from the Eagles' perspective. He was ruled out yesterday. Late scratch, dealing with injuries to both his hands and also a groin injury. And he would have been a big part of the plan of trying to stop Darren Waller. So now you make it a little bit easier on those linebackers who have struggled and the safeties who have struggled as well. So that to me is a big break from an Eagles perspective, and they need to take advantage of it.
Football 24/7 with NFL insider John McMullen, who is live from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, all presented by Stateside Vodka. Go to statesidevodka.com. Use the keyword JAKIB. Get 15% off of a 1-liter bottle. Johnny Mac, off of the Paul Domowitz article in Philly Mag, Eagles Report. What a great article on Friday. One of the bullet points that Damo pointed out, Eagles give up a league high 48 points in the first quarter.
Are you there, Krause?
Yeah, I've got you, Johnny. I don't know if you heard that intro, but referencing from the Damo article in Eagles Weekly, pointing out Eagles give up a league high 48 points in the opening quarter so far.
Yeah, I think, they've had some slow starts defensively, and I think, part of the reason is they're playing this sort of zone-based, people call it bend but don't break, and too often they've been breaking, especially early in the game. Jody McDonald and I have been discussing it for a couple of weeks now on Birds 365. Typically the thought process in this league is if you win the coin toss, you defer because you want the football to start the second half. I'm not sure the Eagles should go that route if they win the coin toss, especially against explosive teams. And they played a lot of explosive teams today that happened against Tampa Bay. And they deferred, and Tampa Bay took the football, went right down and scored. The Raiders aren't that, and they probably are even lesser without Darren Waller, but they can score points. They are explosive with Derek Carr. If they do win the coin toss, I think they should consider taking the football and trying to set the tone early in the game, but they just don't seem willing to do that. Most teams aren't willing to do that. So, you got to get off the field. We talked about situational football. Jonathan Gannon talked about it this week. Eagles haven't been good enough in those types of situations, and they got to get better. They got to get off the field and not let these teams go 13, 14 play drives and end it with touchdowns.
John, let me get one last thought before I let you go. Here on our pregame across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, all presented by Stateside Vodka. A lot of conversation has been all week leading up to this game. Yes, the Raiders 4-2. Yes, the Eagles are 2-4. But the Eagles have a real legitimate opportunity or a real legitimate chance to not only compete with the Raiders, but to actually get out of Vegas with a win. Now, I don't know how you ultimately feel about that, but how is Derek Carr capable of lighting it up to the point that the Raiders blow the Eagles out of the building?
Well, I think he is capable. He's one of those quarterbacks that probably, if you look at it from a Las Vegas perspective, and certainly his former coach, John Gruden, would have said that. He's a guy who can get hot and get the hot hand and have big games, but you'd probably prefer a little bit more consistency from week to week. What I think helps the Eagles is you don't have Darren Waller. So I mean, he's their big traffic guy. Now they have to rely on Hunter Renfrow, their slot receiver. Henry Ruggs is more of a home run threat. So the fact that they don't have that guy who's going to catch, if it's a big week, he might catch double digits. That is out of their lineup. They can't really replace that. And I think that's going to limit the Raiders from have that ability to be really, really explosive. So that's why I think it was so important that he was ruled out. It was such a big break for the Eagles. I don't think the Raiders, even if Derek Carr has the hot hand, can run away from him without Darren Waller.
Johnny Mack checking in live. Johnny, thanks for doing a tough live broadcast here or live report from the stadium. But I will tell you, it brings us right into the stadium. So here we sit in Philadelphia, and I feel like we're right there with you in Las Vegas. Great stuff from John McMullen, Football 24/7. We'll punch in with Johnny Mack at halftime. Great stuff, Johnny Mack. And, of course, we'll see you tonight on the live postgame show with Derek Gunn, Mark Farzetta, Devin Caney, and John McMullen live from Las Vegas. Thank you, brother.
All right, thanks, Trousey.
All right, good stuff from John McMullen here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Keep it here. Don't forget, we'll be right back to Allegiant Stadium at halftime. His report, all presented by Stateside Vodka. Go to statesidevodka.com. Use that keyword JAKIB. Get 15% off of a 1-liter bottle. How will the Eagles do this afternoon? Feel good. I feel a victory. See you next time, everybody.